All right, let's go. Well, guys, what do you think?
Excellent. It was really interesting to hear what these guys are up to.
I agree. You know, I got to ask the most important questions at the end of, what does your share structure look like? What'd you think about hearing 44 million shares in a float?
Not bad, man.
It's
When he said 100, go ahead.
55 actually. It's 55.
When he said 100 and some million outstanding, I knew right off the bat this is a good moment. I mean, I think they held up pretty well after having huge gains yesterday. And I know right now we're going to go through OTC gainers and decliners. Like, I'd like to start out with STEK, look at the chart, see the type of move they had and how they're sustaining, and get your thoughts on that, guys. So, Pat, bring up your screen, my man.
All right.
Not that way.
Let me just get it all under control here. I had it under control, and then it became out of control.
You have it under control, man. After all, you are the Pat McKay.
Oh, yeah. Very. Everyone's looking for him. There we go.
All right.
There it is.
There we go. Look at that.
You'll have to forgive me. I don't know if I
Cold. You don't have to tell me.
No, this is a whole other thing that I have going. So I had a sinus surgery years ago. And looks like I'm due for another one. And it's just crazy. I don't know if anyone out here has had it, but I mean, like, it's just shut down. You know what I mean? Like, one side is just shut down. That's it. Permanently. You could spray it, you could do whatever you want, but it's a structural issue. Very frustrating. Like, I think I've been blowing my nose this whole time you guys were talking. Like, there was nice move and a nice recovery today. Hey, Schito, what do you think?
Yeah, unexpected good move yesterday. Obviously, lately we haven't seen much or big reactions to any catalysts, but they really did it yesterday, and on huge volume. I think it was record volume from what I see. So yeah, it's a pleasant surprise.
It is yeah. If you look at it, I mean, it's far and away, I think, the best volume it's ever had in its history.
Yeah, I think so. It's one day they had one or 2 days, like many years ago, where it was high, but I think this was record volume.
Yeah, this was excellent action, and I think a lot of people, because there's been such a muted reaction to merger deals as of late. I was saying on the stream yesterday, I of the last 20 I bought, maybe one has moved, and I think that for this to actually make this move and then sustain it, you know what I mean? Like, because sometimes some of these things will move and they're just right back to zero the next day, but to sustain it, and you can see not heavy selling, it's nice, it's just refreshing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was very refreshed by it, to see it, and I'm very hopeful that it could maybe become something that will get people taking a look again. You know what I mean? And I think that's the big thing is, we've been waiting for something to happen that is sustained movement and continuation, where people might come back and they might say, you know what, okay, I'll look at some OTCs again. You know what I mean? Or and not just like look at some OTCs, but like look at something other than, buying the same 5 billion float trip over.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
You know what
And
I'm
that's
saying?
what we hear a lot of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it sustained more than 100% gain is holding it. I mean, what? Just a few days ago, it was trading at I had to get my glasses out to look, 2.5 cents.
Yeah.
And they closed today at what, over 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 5. Yeah.
And it's nice to see it. And, you know, I thought it was interesting when we were chatting with the management team beforehand. You know, one of them said, you know, this is a tougher market now because the world is becoming more of a trader world than it is an investor world.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, if they're the way that we were raised on the OTC, it was like you find a good merger deal, you hang on, and let them create something. You know what I mean? And that happens so. And I think that's a lot of the reason why they keep coming back to old trips and stuff, because to them, because of the culture now, it's just a trade. If I get a flip, you flip it out 80%, 40%, whatever, dump it, who cares, right? Like, I mean, that actually believing in an investment is much more rare, and a company to be able to actually keep something going and not just unload on everyone the second they can, you know, see some volume, it would be huge. And you know, time will tell, obviously here, but they have a golden opportunity to because I think there's a lot of people like all three of us who, you know, if we got something actually treating us respectfully, would throw a ton of money at it.
Yeah, and I'll hold it. I won't sit there and trade it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the thing.
yeah. So a nice couple days anyways.
Well,
Yeah,
look,
it's going to be interesting what it does from here
Wait.
now, the next few days, next week.
Yeah.
Gonna be the tell.
from my understanding, they clearly stated they have not done any awareness in 3 years. Now, what that means is they haven't had people flip the stock like that, just buy and sell and dump. You know, it's like no pump and dump action for 3 years, and they have a tight float. And they're about to come into a period where there's going to be a lot of news and a lot of action happening. They're going to be active on social media, and they're going to come out of the gate with some awareness, not promotional stuff, but awareness. And I believe we might have a chance to work with them on that respect, but we'll see how that plays out. But if so, I really think that we can turn something great into this. What was their high back in April that you're looking at? What was the high?
10 cents.
That's another
Yeah,
double from here.
It went on a big run back then from like 2 to 10.
Yeah.
And not on a lot of volume either.
No.
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 No. No. No. This can move with a little bit of volume. This can move.
I'm excited. Yeah, I
We'll
mean,
see what
even
they
if
got.
accidentally we
This
had all
guy's
the
asking-
viewers that come on this
guy's asking,
show.
what about the liabilities on the balance sheet? Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's a good question because they certainly have some good amount like in relation to the assets. It's a fair question, and maybe
There is 9 million in liabilities currently. Accounts payable, notes payable, convertible debt. You know, my answer to this is always the same. Like, I think that sometimes people are always so quick to say, hey, you know, did you see they have convertible debt? And then, I mean, that's the whole point of having a stock on the stock market, is to raise capital. You know what I mean? So the relationship with whoever has the convertible debt and the liabilities is ultimately what's going to determine the price action. And, you know, a lot of times we see things on the OTC that have like zero liability, zero convertible debt. And as a result, they also have zero volume, because there's no incentive to use the stock as it's intended. So I hear you with the liabilities, but at the end of the day, you can't necessarily correlate liabilities to movement or negative movement one to one, because I mean, here's a perfect example, right? Like
Pulling up eyeless.
right. So I think once upon a time, someone would have looked at this, and because I mean, this was like infinity debt, endless dilution, tons of liabilities. And if down here, back was it when it was in trips, and a funny story. I mean, for me as a Canadian, I wasn't allowed to buy it. I had 0.0011 on ILS when they announced the deal. But if I make all my trading decisions based on, well, it could be diluted, I really can never trade again. You know what I mean? Because that's the case for all of them. So yeah, there's a lot of liabilities there, but you can't correlate it one to one, because and if your concern in buying things is that it might dilute one day, unfortunately you won't be able to buy anything.
Well, let's look at this. Let's look at this in a more realistic way. Okay. Now, there's companies that over dilute, and really they have tons of toxic debt, and they're not managing it properly. They're really making the most of being a public company and trying to raise capital. But if you look at a deal like STEK, they have some, but they haven't over diluted. Their stock structure is still nice, and yet they're doing what they should do to from a fiduciary responsibility in raising capital to be able to expand growth, manufacturing, sales, and grow the company to bring value to the shareholders. So, I mean, if they're not abusing raising money and they're not over diluted, having some debt is not a bad thing.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
I'm not sure if money was particularly talking about dilution risk. Maybe his question was maybe just on a fundamental basis, like because they have a negative book value and that stuff. So that's
for
maybe
sure.
he meant that.
And usually, like, I mean, and it absolutely could have been that, but I thought it was a good idea, a good opportunity to kind of get my answer in, because I think a lot of times people will be hesitant to buy something because because of the liabilities, and that's understandable. But at the end of the day, the only control you truly have is because you don't know when the note holder, debt holder, whatever is going to sell. So really, the only control you have is of your own position and whether or not you're willing to go red. And
I think it's a very good point you made. Definitely.
And that really is the final answer of it. And I think a lot of people would like to imagine that, like, you buy it and then you can't ever sell it or something. I mean, it's just literally, hey, here's what I bought it at. I don't want to go red, and then that's it, right? So, and that's really my answer to the question about dilution risk. I mean, everything has a dilution risk, I suppose.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps answer the question, Money. I don't know if it does, but that's usually my boilerplate answer. Yeah.
Well, not a bad answer,
Yeah. So we'll see, but exciting, sharp guys, and boy, it would be nice to see that type of a setup make a move here. You know what I mean? Like it would be very rare. Otherwise, I mean, how have you been finding it, Schito?
The OTC?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about it a few days ago, it has been getting really rough, I found.
Yeah.
And I think I can judge it pretty good because I trade so many different stocks and I observe so many different stocks. So I have a good picture of what the overall market is, and it has been getting really pretty bad for a couple of weeks. The last 2 days were good, were much better. The overall strength was much better across the board, so we will see. But obviously, the volume and the liquidity is far away from where we expect it to be, since it's November. I mean, if it's July right now, then I would say okay, but in November there should be more volume, there should be more interest, and it's just not, because right now everybody is on crypto, I guess, and it's part of it, I think.
It seems like it.
I have been very frustrated with the fact that, like, every market, crypto, big board, I mean everything has been right through the roof since Trump was elected. And this has, and they just threw this baby out with the bathwater to go do those things. I mean, and we saw obviously with the brokers now are restricting how much people can buy.
Fidelity, I heard. It's awful if that's true and that's their policy going forward. I mean, obviously they will lose every single OTC guy. It's crazy.
Let me read the okay, so I was talking with the guy behind the scenes, Gabe. He works with StimTech. He sent me a message that he got from one of his investors. It's like, on his trading platform, it said the share quantity is limited due to the average volume of the security. Please edit the order. And they wouldn't allow him to buy the stock. He was buying more than what the average volume was, and that's why they were limiting his order.
Yeah, that's what's happening now. Is brokers are doing that.
Yeah, it came up a week ago or so. Fidelity came up with that strange thing. And I guess so far they kept it, and if that's confirmed from the broker, then you just need to move away from Fidelity as fast as humanly possible. I mean,
I haven't seen that with Schwab yet. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's not at Schwab, and it's certainly not at E-Trade. From what I hear, I have Schwab. It's not there. Definitely not there. But I cannot imagine that any sane broker would do that unless they really want to get rid of OTC pink sheet guys. I mean, because otherwise it makes no sense.
Well, okay. So if you're actively trying to protect the investors, it would make sense to limit them buying a percentage of the daily volume, because then they would be able to get out of the positions they hold and not get stuck with them if it comes down to a situation. I'm not saying I'm advocating it. I'm just trying to think about the logic of it.
Well, yeah, that's the logic. But again, like last I checked, brokers weren't regulators. You know what I mean? And they've been sticking their nose in this OTC action for a while now, with restricting if people can buy a yield sign, restricting if people can buy on the gray market. Like, and they think they're protecting you, but the reality is, like here in Canada or Schito in Europe, I could load up as many trips as I wanted of something on the gray or expert market, wait for it to go pink, and just crush bids all day long of Americans buying it. So what are they doing? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm hoping with the shift in power that they'll address some of these things, because I know Trump definitely I'm not talking about politics, saying I'm on his side. I'm just saying Trump understands trading is important to the American economy and to the world economy. And if he can come and help some of these regulatory standings with OTC companies or emerging growth companies, I think it's going to go a long ways. And I believe there's an interest in him doing that. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe.
Because my question will be one of, to get those things to happen, it takes lobbying power, and lobbying power takes money. And, so the question is, is there money behind these stocks that are doing $5-6 grand a day enough to to lobby the government effectively? That's the question.
No, but I would possibly say that the people that have lost the tremendous amounts of money they've lost because of the lack of regulatory or the lack of things being run properly would have money behind it. Because that, like you said, you've dipped your toes in the water and you've tried crypto, and holy crap, is it way more anxiety filled, no break. Like you would much rather be trading OTC market stocks. So there is a huge interest from people that understand that to get behind something like this. And I think there is a lot of money there. But right now, I think they pulled it off on the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean that's the issue. It's over regulation, and OTC markets itself as an organization. I mean, to my eye, is doing everything they can to make it harder somehow.
They surely don't help. Yeah.
No.
And now it's even worse because now we all trading blind, on the share structure stuff and and on details that change on certain stocks and labels get added and we have no idea. It's crazy. I had 2 cases in the last few days where I didn't realize that one of my stocks that I own, since I own so many, I cannot manually look up every single symbol in the morning. I had twice the situation that I didn't see that the stock had a grace period, and it's getting really bad if that's the case, because I just saw it because the stock went down and I saw it going down, and then I realized what happened. But this is so bad from OTC markets that they don't let the share structure bots work anymore, and so it's everything is going against OTC retail guys right now.
Yeah, it is. And so yeah, it would take a really good opportunity to turn this thing around for sure. Here's some movers. Dollar volume column is here.
Yeah, if it's not over like 10,000 in volume, don't worry about it.
Pretty much.
That THBD or TBHD or whatever, I've seen that for a few days in a row.
That's the old NECA, NECA.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I haven't heard NECA in a while. That's where it went, is THB or TBHD
now.
Mm-hmm.
And then so it's funny because I'm seeing people like shocked it's doing so much selling, and I'm like, really?
Why are you shocked? Look at the old company.
Yeah.
History repeats itself.
That tiger's got the same stripes, baby.
Yeesh.
Boy, a bunch of bags, eh?
Yeah, there's like, I was blown away yesterday because I've looked through all this. The only companies that did like triple digit money trading for the day were like, there was a QX company and a Chinese company, of course, and a bank. And other than that, I mean, there's a few that traded like $1 million, but they were big companies that are just listed on OTC. But there was no other volume being had at OTC, and here STEK was banging. And I was like,
it
wow.
was great to see.
Yeah. Is there anything popping up like that today?
No.
Jeez. I also looked, I've been looking more at the number of trades in a day. And the reason why, I mean, if you can't get out of what you're buying, not saying I have a trader's mentality, but if things start to go south and you can't get out of it, that really sucks.
Yeah, you have to really use your position size, properly. I mean, you cannot buy on the thinner the stuff is, the less money you can buy into. It's just logic, You cannot buy on the stuff that had 80% spread, low float. You cannot put $3,000 in because you will never ever get it out if something goes wrong,
Yeah. People say about a tight spread, they say, well, if you weren't a flipper, you wouldn't want it. But the problem is that if you want volume, you need people to feel that there's bid support in something, and that's just the reality.
I worked in a chop shop, man. We got on the phone and we called brokers. We're looking at a level 2 and a level 4. We're looking at time and sales to see what type of blocks are going through, and we were looking at the list of market makers and the bids. And what I would spend most of my time doing was calling people and saying, "I know you're not going to buy stock right now. Just put in a bid. I've made you money before. You've bought and you've had big gains. So do me a solid. Give me a $10,000-$20,000 bid over here, a little bit below value, so I can start to stack these up." Because I have people that are waiting to buy based on whether or not the bid starts to move. And as soon as people started seeing the bid get built up, that's when they started pulling trigger because they feel safer. They're like, okay, well, at least if things go south, I know there's a big bid right here that I can be able to get out of my position or something. And it was the telltale sign of a stock turning around was the bid building.
For sure.
Now, people are scared.
Well, and I don't blame them
Neither.
because I mean the amount of times that I've seen a good deal or a good merger, bought it, and then been the last guy to buy it for the next 6 calendar months.
Oh, God.
I don't have enough fingers and toes to count.
Yeah.
You know,
One thing that was fair enough today was CEOs because
yes,
of
I pulled that up because there was an interesting
Sios?
story there.
They
Those
did a show
CEOs.
last night with Super Robot. I think only like maybe 200, 300 people listen to the show.
Different company.
No, we're talking about CEOS.
Oh, not CYIO.
Because it
Okay.
had a tweet from Musk.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So CEOs, this lady does. It's I pulled it up here. She does veterans care. And Elon Musk had tweeted a clip or a screenshot from her interview she did on Fox about how veterans are going homeless. And so there was a picture of the CEO sitting with a member of the Fox News team talking about this, and he tweeted it, and then she interacted with the tweet, obviously, which is why the move today on CEOs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for his post right now. Apparently the guy puts out a ton of posts.
He puts out a ton. It's somewhere down there. He didn't say much. He just said that it's ridiculous, the situation. That's basically what he said.
And it really is. A good friend of mine just died recently. A good friend of mine died just recently. She has had a doctorate in psychology, and her whole life was spent focused on working with veterans that have had traumatic brain injuries that find themselves homeless because they're not able to function in a way to support themselves. And she spent her life getting them into housing, getting them proper help and treatment to address it, and then finding ways to get grants and other things so that they could get establish themselves in a way that they could be self-supportive again. And I tell you, her work, Mary McLaughlin, was amazing. But it took everything out of her because it's an epidemic of grand proportions.
It is. So this made a move intraday, a ton of selling, but then made the turn at the end of the day and was turning back up. So I have a trend line that it kind of has been struggling with for a long time. To kind of break above it and stay above it could be nice. And so, we'll all be forgotten tomorrow after it's buried under 100 more Elon Musk tweets. I couldn't say. But, if you wanted to.
Did he put that tweet out yesterday?
No, today. Early today. And she tried to get him involved more than, but I don't think he wanted to play. But I mean, obviously, if he gets involved more, or let alone if he would like tweet the symbol or something, then this.
Oh no.
This will run.
He
like
knows
crazy.
it's his stock. He's not going to do that unless he's invested.
No,
He'll tweet about Doge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so stay above 25. Maybe you got to move there.
It had good volume, relative, like one of the biggest volume days ever. So,
Yeah.
I couldn't find the tweet.
This
There's
is
too
the
many.
old NECA. So, yeah, it's just pretty much 100%. Oh,
You looked up NECA.
yeah. I mean, old habits die hard, but
Yeah.
pretty much just 100% selling right now. Need to break touch 4 and then stay above 3. And the problem you have is it's a 25% loss if you make a mistake, or 50% or more.
What, the spread?
So yeah, well, it's just every tick down's 25%, and then so it's up to you. But really, I mean, if you people have been sitting here all month with zero price action now, so there's that. Good luck. Sing.
Sing.
People are really mad at Sing. Tell you what.
What's going on?
Well, it was on the big board and it was at multi-dollars and it got dumped so fast. And then, so having a bit of a bounce today, but I mean, just went basically straight to zero. Like, look at this.
Holy goodness.
Yeah. Like, I mean, people just got absolutely massacred after the
Where
release.
was it?
absolute worst stocks out there.
Before it got dumped, where was it?
Multi-dollars. It was fresh off a split in August. And it got dumped so hard that it dumped through markets back down to the OTC basically.
Wow.
Now they're trying to put a bounce on it, but you have people who are pissed. Like it's just unbelievable what they did.
I never even saw the top of it. You kept on scrolling out,
You can't really find it. I mean, it's just through the roof.
Oh my goodness.
It's wild.
Yeah, a true rug. So they're bouncing it. You want to try a tech bounce on it? I think it's still decently thin, but I mean, it's always selling, and people are mad as hell. So
it doesn't show any float information at all. It just shows authorized 6 billion.
All old. Yeah, this is from the end of December or the end of September, and it's been pretty much nonstop selling. You can see it nonstop selling since. So nasty business. If they get a bounce on it, it could be a great bounce, but man, they're angry.
Yeah, I cannot trust them. I can trust a lot of.
There's the Chinese company I was talking about.
This is too much.
China King Kong, right? Is that what they call it? I don't know.
King Young.
Okay.
Chi King Young.
Chi King Young. What are they?
Yeah, it's been on the advancers list for a few days in a row.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, these Chinese things, they run it up and then
drop it,
dump it, and hopefully you made it.
Yeah.
That's it. And, you know, and I tried to pick up a dip on one, a month ago or so.
No dip to be had.
It never moved again. Never. Nope.
Yeah, it seems like, okay, so the game would be if you could set up an algorithm to buy $1,000 worth of every Chinese company that initially gets in the public markets, like reverse merger, S1, whatever, and then dump it within the first 2 weeks, you'd be good.
Or you could plant your money in the ground. Listen to this.
Yeah. You might grow a tree.
Yeah. There's that. I don't know what the scoop is here. Boy, that is thin. Have you been tracking this one, Schito?
Oh yeah, I posted this one yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I own it, and I saw that bids were coming in, and I posted it yesterday at 60 cents that this is firming up, and it hit $2 today. I was pretty happy about it.
You own some, right?
Yeah. I own.
Good. Did you sell?
Yeah, I sold most, not all.
So you use the old adage, you pull all your money out and it's free riding shares, right?
No, I don't. I'm not a. I don't. How do I say it? I'm not a fan at all about this putting out your money and then house money, because I think there is no house money. That term is I know that I know how people mean it, and obviously I do the same when I sell in steps upwards, but I never sell a certain percentage or 50% or a third, because every situation is different for me. It's very individual. It depends on so many things, how far the stock already went, if I think it's overvalued now, or what is the catalyst. And there is so much that goes into this, I much rather decide for myself how much I still want to have in the stock, dollar amount, and so I always sell in like 5, 6, 8, 10 steps on the way up. So but yeah, obviously I take off. The more it goes, the more I take off.
So it looks like the news here is that the guy is in a battle with the SEC.
That's not positive news.
Well, it could be positive news if you consider that the chairman of the SEC is stepping down.
He is.
So maybe people are getting ahead of the case getting thrown out. Who knows?
Yeah, I have no idea why somebody suddenly saw the buying a few days ago. It's a really good setup, and they had a huge split, like in 21, I think, in 20, 1 to 1 million, and it's
forward split or reverse?
No, reverse, 1 to 1 million in 2020. And since then, they haven't diluted a single share. I mean, it's basically.
Why would you need? It had to be a tiny float after that.
Yeah, that's why it moved like this. I mean, it has 250,000 float.
Jeez.
Think about how fat that must have been.
Bloated pig.
If it's 262,000 after that split.
Well, add a million, add 6 zeros.
It was pretty bloated, and that was a record reverse split that I saw. I saw 500,000 once or twice, but a million. I think this is the only 1 million I saw, and it's unbelievable that the FINRA processes stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's so funny about it, because you hear FINRA getting involved in, we're doing this and we're looking out for that, but they process this. They process RNVA once a year.
Yeah, that's the thing. They process on some of these. They process every 18 months. They process a reverse split. I mean, I don't get the argument of this.
No, me neither.
But FINRA's been really cracking down on allowing or disallowing reverse splits based on previous history. So it's like things have changed since they did that reverse split till now. Now they're really limiting key companies from listing or from doing a reverse split if they've done one in the last few years, or if they have a history of doing them on a regular basis. And the process is taking like 6 to 8 months anyways.
Yeah, it takes a long time, but I think there is a couple out there that had the reverse split like last year, and they already have another one now. So I guess if the company is clean in the background that FINRA looks at, then they still process many reverse splits. I guess I don't know what they look really after.
This AVVH has been a bag forever, basically, and I mean, every time they think they're getting somewhere with it, they get dumped on, and I don't think it's worth anyone's time. Sybil made that great move after getting rid of the CE, and now obviously just getting unloaded on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good luck.
It's not that surprising, I guess, because Sybil has a couple of guys, with huge amounts of notes and shares and whatnot.
Yeah, they do.
and they wanted to cash in. Also, they just presented their quarter, and I mean they went Q to Q. They went like from 50 million to 5 million in revenues. Obviously, they have a business that fluctuates a lot, but some people certainly were not too happy.
No, because they were expecting it to be a lot higher, given the fact that they had those drone deals in Ukraine and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that was another reason why it really collapsed lately. I think.
Look at that.
Yeah, and the prior quarter had like 50 million or 53 or something like this.
Yikes.
So,
yeah, there it is there, yeah. Okay, well, good luck to them with that. DKSC, I guess they're working on a merger. Maybe you want to talk about this, Schito. I know that people are excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, money also mentioned it. Yeah, it's firming up. I mean, we have been waiting on that merger for a while now. There were some rumors that it's falling through. The company came out yesterday, I think, on Twitter and said that's not true. It's still going. They still go for the merger. So there has been more buying again lately, and it's firming up lately. It's not bad. I mean, we will see what they eventually bring in here, and if they can close that deal. You're right. I mean,
and then I guess Olaf been on the move a bit. You found something in the filings, or? Yeah.
A few weeks ago, I found that, and I posted it on Twitter. They have. Can you open up the last queue and go to the subsequent events?
Sure.
You might be there faster than I find my tweet. Can you? Let me check.
So we got the cryptoverse thing that they spun out.
Yeah, they had the. Let me just look it up. Okay, so I have it. Under the subsequent events, they said NextGen has forgiven all notes and will be issued 500,000 shares of non-restricted stock that will be issued in Q4. OWolf has entered into a stock purchase agreement, and the transfer of ownership will happen in Q4. So that's the thing. Obviously, there is some fantasy for a change of control or whatever that CEO wants to do. I have no idea. Change of ownership should be a change of control, I guess. I'm not sure. We will see what they will come up with, but it's not the worst setup. Obviously, it's maxed.
No, it's a good setup. I remember it made a great move, and I mean they had the airless tires, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a lot, and they once had that. You remember that $100 million contract?
Yes.
Obviously, that was never seen anymore again.
No, they had all these giant contracts. They said and merger and deals they said they were doing, and then every quarter I would look at the balance sheet and they were nowhere to be found. It was mind-boggling.
It's to be taken with a grain of salt, but the setup is not bad. 77 million float, and they maxed OS for a while now. They never increased that AS. I haven't double checked that on SOS, but I think it's still 200 million, so it's maxed. So they are not selling. For now,
interesting. Kittle's a good setup that needs a reverse merger, though. I mean, these guys selling their pasta sauce, pack it in. You know what I mean? Like someone could buy this shell and do really well. There's no volume and no price action right now, but it's one to put on your radar for a merger deal.
It's a shell?
No, they have a business, but they're selling pasta sauce on Shopify. So
that famous.
What's their share structure look like?
He's gone again, I guess.
It's a good setup.
That's not bad. So I wonder what they're asking for Clear Trust. I know their transfer agent.
Yeah, it's a
Terrence
wild
Ansel
There's
owns
just
setup.
no
Clear
way to
Trust.
get volume right now with pasta sauce, so it would be an issue of can they get it? Would someone buy that shell? You know.
But you know, when I see that setup down at trip 8 and more or less nobody cares, you know,
Yeah.
that's been amazing in the last few years. That has gotten a lot worse because I remember a few years ago. I mean, can you imagine how many would have absolutely hammered this if you found a trip 8 stock with 150 million float?
Oh, dude, we would have run it for shits and giggles.
Yeah, and sometimes if I see a setup like this right now, and initially I think that's unbelievable, you have to buy this, and then you see more and more, you know, you realize that it's not that much of an exception anymore. You see this similar and this similar. There is crazy stuff going on. I mean, there is 100 million floats in near trips, you know.
Yeah, and it's just funny because there was a period of time where I was buying them and then I was like, oh well, you know, they're gonna go for this any moment, you know what I mean? And then I'd just be sitting there for months and going, it just doesn't work that way anymore, you know.
This is something that definitely changed over the years.
Yeah.
This wasn't the case. People just don't care. I mean, there's not enough people that care about finding such a setup anymore because they rather do, like, I don't know, cat coins. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I mean, I had one that I bought today, 1,000% gain.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
1,000%.
I know they have these gains all the time, and I still can't manage to get into this stuff because it's just so annoying. But I mean, I guess if you make the money, it's less annoying. But
yeah, I'm starting to turn the corner with it. But you know, I think the interesting realization of this and I think the failure of some of these companies in a way is that people would rather buy a coin of a cartoon cat than pretend like these are good companies. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the sadness of it. You know what I mean? Is for someone to look at this and go, well, you know, I can pretend this is good, or I can buy a funny joke. And the fact that they would rather do that says a lot about how poorly managed this situation has become.
yeah, I mean, there would be a third possibility. Don't pretend it's good, but still take it as a trading vehicle, you know?
But that's what's so funny about it is that someone can post a cat coin and people will go, oh, okay, well, you got a cat coin, cool. Someone will post OTC and they turn into Columbo on your ass about the notes and you know what I mean, and they're ready to detect you about, you know, whether or not they really have pasta sauce for sale. So like, it's so funny to me that if you post an OTC, you're up against the firing squad.
And
but then a cat coin, people are like, oh, cool.
And this is part of the problem the OTC has. It's part of the problem because people look at this stuff and want to analyze it as if it was a blue chip. And they don't do that with a cat coin because they don't have the desire to do that on a cat coin.
I know it's not going to make sense.
They have the desire to analyze like a trip 8 stock with, I don't know, like $3 in revenues, like a blue chip fundamentally. And that's the problem, you know, and that's the mistake they make.
Yeah, well, and that's why, you know, a lot of the OTCs that I do trade, I don't really talk about anymore because I know posting an OTC has almost zero impact. You know what I mean? And then, and then I have to defend the position versus where, you know, like there's people with hundreds of thousands of followers that are posting a coin about an ass.
Yeah.
There's no, and even if it goes to zero, there's no questions.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a real alternative to the OTC stuff, and I think it's the worst thing that could have ever happened to the OTC market.
Yeah.
With besides all the other problems, but if you have a stop sign or you don't have a stop sign, if you have an expert market, if you have to learn some deadline rules, it's all manageable, I think, over time, because people, as you always say, people always came back to this market because you can make out of a little money, you can make a lot of money, you know. And now they have something else to go to, so they don't
Right.
need to come back to the OTC. It's the single worst enemy of the OTC, and that's my biggest concern going forward as an OTC trader. That if this
and
stays,
that's what's so sad about it, is that they had a good sandbox here that they could have regulated, and they could have kept an eye on and maybe loosen up a little, and people could have felt more comfortable holding things, and they could have allowed a little bit of freedom here, and been able to keep that money safer versus things that are going directly to zero on the crypto market. And unfortunately, they chose to let it go, and now we're here. And that for that Gary Gensler who's resigning, I wonder if he's being honest with himself about what he did here with the OTC, if he is proud of the fact
He should be.
that people who he was supposedly protecting are now in the jaws of death with international syndicates of scammers in cryptocurrency. Like, I wonder if he really feels anyone's been protected at all. I doubt it.
Yeah. And I wonder how.
Wait, hold up. Schito, hold on 1 second. Yeah, he protected some people, but I think they were his friends.
Yeah, I mean, also what he did with XRP and some of the bigger coins wasn't friendly, you know, wasn't retail friendly.
Yeah.
He's not a retail friend, I guess. But on the meme coin side, Pat, do you see this staying with us?
Yeah.
For good now?
Yeah. This is happening. And, I think young people have felt that they've been priced out of the stock market for quite some time now, and priced out of everything else, homes, cars, everything. And to the point that, for them to invest long term on a stock market that's parabolic, that basically is just 100% held by boomers, or take a shot at a meme coin, and now with the ease of use of Solana, because that was always the issue, and that was part of the reason that the meme coins didn't take off originally. It's because it was so expensive to trade them, with the gas fees, and difficult to trade them. But now, with Solana, I mean, that you can move a multi-$1,000 position for $1. You can do it instantly off of a wallet. I mean, the ease of access now. I mean, we're just on the cusp of something that people don't fully understand how big it could be. So, this is happening. I mean, every day, like multiple times a day, people have a shot at life-changing money. And you look at coins that are doing dollar volume that would blow your mind. I mean, Simp did $22 million in the last 24 hours.
That chill guy is still up top.
Chill guy, 45
He's up
cents.
top.
Think about this. 45 cents in less than a week from quads.
Jiminy Christmas.
$500 million into it today. So
A
I don't know
billion.
how you're gonna
And what is
compete
it?
with
It's a little meme of a dog.
But that's
not even a
the
meme, is it?
point of it. I mean, it's so silly, but I mean, they would rather that than trade the OTC right now. That's how painful the OTC has become to them. You know,
Yeah, but isn't the reason they prefer that because I don't know how to really say this to not offend people, but they don't have to think about a whole lot of stuff with the coins compared to OTC, right? I mean, they don't have to read the filing, they don't have to learn about deadlines, about rules, about that stuff. They don't have to look into any of that stuff. I mean, they just go there and throw $200 on a coin on a dog coin.
but I mean, that's unfortunately, like, we had that once, all in a way. I mean, you could buy a stop sign, you're hearing something about a merger. Hey, cool, I'll buy it, whatever, see what happens, throw a couple $100 at it, whatever, man. You know what I mean? Like that, we had that once. And now it's like, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna go gray tomorrow. I don't know, like, did they file on time? My broker won't let me buy it. Like the list is endless of bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm running into a hard stop, guys. That's what I got.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah. Just somebody is asking about RDGL.
Oh, sorry about that. Let's see.
I have never traded this one. I don't follow this one, so I couldn't tell you my opinion. I don't know about you, Pat. Obviously, we know the symbol for a long time, but I've never followed it. It's not a setup I would be interested in. I mean, and I don't know.
Basically, I think all you could do here. I mean, first of all, what's your time worth? But second of all, you want to pick it up and find out if it loses 08, probably time to go.
Yeah, I think that should be a hard stop because that's so obvious as a support level.
Yeah.
You got to do that, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, you may just be sitting there for a very, very long time doing nothing. I mean, so
there's a lot of red in the last few.
Yeah.
2 months.
I don't know their dilution history. I don't know much about it.
No. Canine sarcoma.
Pull up this one stock. It's not an OTC stock, but I was given an alert on it a while ago.
I won't be
Last
able
stock
to.
of
I'm
the
gonna
day.
have to roll.
Last one. It's IONQ. I think I sent it to you.
What a move.
It's still moving.
I missed that one.
Yeah, I
I'm
hear
glad I
you
bought
out
a few
trading.
shares at like 14.
Good golly.
Well, they're into is it cryogenic computing and AI?
Okay. One of these.
Not bad.
Yeah. I might have that word wrong. I think I do, but it's a mixture of computing and AI, and it's like the next move in the AI market. And I don't know. The stock is doing amazing. No complaints out of me.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you guys.
Have a good night, guys.
Hey, Josh, I sent you the Musk tweet, so you can look into it.
Oh, I'll post about it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
Schito, you have a blessed night.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, thanks for joining us right here on JRC Stock Talk. We're really here for you. So please go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, JRC Stocks. Also, you can find us or me directly on Twitter. We do a lot of informational work on Twitter itself. It's the largest concentration of investors and traders in the market. Look up JRC_stocks. You'll find me. You can look up OTC Method, or his name is Kiko Stocks, or you can look up Schito_74. Contact us. stay in touch with us. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear the companies you're looking at. We want to dive into the due diligence behind them. And as a community, we'll grow together. Can't do it alone. So if you need help with understanding due diligence or going after things, we're here for you. And if you have a company that is really got a lot of meat on the bone, but not a lot of exposure, I want to know about it. Send me a direct link to how I can get in touch with that company. I'll be happy to do everything I can to get them on the show for you so that we can ask direct questions from the horse's mouth, find out the most up-to-date due diligence information so that you can make a sound investment buying decision. Talk with your financial planner, talk with your brokers before doing so. And I appreciate you guys with all my heart. Thank you so much and have a blessed night.